Soft ambient sound, distant traffic, a ticking clock, maybe a faint motorcycle rumble in the distance. Voice begins gently like someone sharing a memory over coffee. I didn't go to the nursing home that day to be a hero. Honestly, I just went because my Uncle Walter sounded, well, not weak. Walter Miller was never weak. He was a Marine who stormed Omaha Beach at 19, came home without ever mentioning it, unless someone asked twice, and still knew how to fix a leaky faucet with a wrench and a wink. He taught me how to shake a hand like you meant it. Firm, eye contact, no flinching. But that morning on the phone, his voice was thin, like someone whispering through a sheet of paper. And when he said, "Come by if you can, kid," something's wrong. I knew I had to go, so I made his favorite chicken soup, packed clean socks, got in the car, and I drove to Golden Sunset Care Center. From the outside, it looked fine. Clean brick, white trim, flowers by the door, bright red geraniums in little pots. You know how it is. A house with flowers always looks like someone cares. But the second I stepped inside, the air hit me. That sharp fake lemon cleaner smell. The kind that doesn't clean, it just covers up what's underneath. I signed in, nodded at the receptionist, carried my thermos and my little bag down the hall, thinking about how Uncle Walt always watched the Yankees game at 7 p.m., even if he fell asleep halfway through. And then, I heard it. A slap. Not loud. Not dramatic like in the movies, just quick. Flat. Like a hand hitting wet paper. But it echoed in my chest like a gunshot. Before I even thought, my feet moved. I turned the corner. And there he was. My uncle, on the floor, on his side, reaching for his walker if it might save him. His lip was split. Bleeding, standing over him, a woman in a crisp navy suit, arms crossed, face tight. Her hand was still raised and she hissed, "You filthy old bastard." Everything in me went hot, then cold. Like ice water poured down my spine, I said, "Hey." Too loud, too raw. "What did you do?" She didn't flinch, just smoothed her jacket and said, calm as a tax auditor, "Mr. Miller fell. He's confused, making wild accusations." But my uncle looked up at me, eyes wide, voice trembling. "I didn't fall." She hit me, because I told her the truth. I dropped the soup. It rolled under a chair, leaking broth like a tear. I didn't care. I knelt, put my hand behind his shoulder, the way a nurse once showed me, and lifted him gently. He felt light, too light, like a coat full of air. "Uncle Walt," I whispered, "when did you last eat?" His eyes filled. Marines don't cry for themselves. But he did then. "They give us one meal a day now," he said. "Sometimes. Just crackers and water." And that's when I heard boots behind me, not one pair, dozens, leather, heavy, purposeful. I turned and saw them filling the hallway. Big men in vests, patches on their backs, tattoos on their arms, hair tied back or shaved close, Hell's Angels. I recognized a few from the coffee shop near the freeway. Their president, everyone called him Hammer, stepped forward. Broad shoulders, quiet eyes that missed nothing. He looked at my uncle, then at the woman in the suit and said, "What's going on here?" She straightened up. "I'm Patricia Hoffman, the director. This is private property. The man fell. He's got dementia." I looked at Hammer. He looked at me. No words, just a look like two people recognizing the same storm. Then I said it. "He says you're cutting meals, that you're stealing." Patricia laughed, a dry, brittle sound. "Dementia makes them paranoid. We serve 3 meals a day, snacks, vitamins, everything." Hammer didn't raise his voice, just pulled out his phone, tapped the camera. "Then you won't mind if we check the kitchen?" Her face went pale, like ice spreading across a puddle. We didn't wait for permission. We walked, past fake photos of smiling seniors, past empty hallways that smelled like neglect, room by room. We found them. Old men who'd once held the line while the world burned. Navy, Army, Marines, airmen. Now lying in beds with stained sheets. Wrists like twigs, eyes too big for their faces. Mr. Chen, 92. Navy, voice like dry leaves, whispered, "She's stealing everything. Our food money, our meds, even our things." I went into Uncle Walt's room. His medals? Gone. The black and white photo of his platoon, boys grinning in the sun before half of them died. Gone. The watch my grandpa gave him when he came home from war? Not on the dresser. Where are his things? I asked Patricia. She shrugged. Old men hide things, dementia. But Uncle Walt's hand shook, not from fear this time. From rage, he pulled out his phone, fumbled with the screen, handed it to me, and there it was. Video after video. Patricia is taking cash from families in the lobby, smiling like a saint. Audio of her telling staff, cut portions, water down the juice, skip the pills if they don't notice, grainy footage of her loading boxes into her car. Medals, watches, wedding rings, photos, proof. Days of it, nights of it. Patricia lunged for the phone. I caught her wrist, just held it, not hard. Just enough to say, "You don't get to hurt anyone else." "Touch him again," I said quietly, "and you'll be the one needing a nursing home." She threatened to call the police. Hammer just lifted his phone higher. "Go ahead. Let's get it all on record." Someone already had. By the time officers arrived, the lobby was full of veterans, of bikers, of truth spilling out like floodwater. Dr. Sarah Kim, a geriatric specialist who'd been tracking suspicious deaths at Golden Sunset, reviewed the charts. She looked up, eyes dark with grief, and said, "These men were deliberately starved. Denied medication. That's not neglect. That's murder." Patricia smirked. "They were dying anyway. What difference does it make?" Hammer stepped forward, softly like he was talking to a child who'd broken something precious. "These men saved the world. That's the difference." Then he made a call, and within the hour, the street outside filled with the low, steady growl of motorcycles, 200 of them. Not roaring, not threatening, just there, Hell's Angels, veterans, strangers, who wore different colors but the same purpose. They stood guard while police searched, while families cried, while the truth finally had room to breathe. In Patricia's office, designer handbags, whiskey bottles, bank statements showing over $2 million funneled into her accounts. For 48 men, the kitchen held 3 loaves of bread, 1 tub of peanut butter. That's it at trial. The courtroom looked like a field hospital from another war. Wheelchairs, oxygen tanks, hands trembling on canes. Mr. Chen told the jury about waiting all night for a pain pill. That never came. Another veteran said he sold his wedding ring to pay for special meals that never arrived. My uncle stood, lean but steady, and said, "I survived Normandy. I survived the bulge. I came home believing I'd grow old in a country that remembered. I was wrong about one person, but I wasn't wrong about this country." He looked at Patricia and said, "You thought we were too weak to fight back. You forgot something. Veterans never stop being warriors. We just recruit younger ones when we need to." She got life without parole. The news called it a scandal. Online, people argued about politics. But in our circle, we just breathed. For the first time in months, we could breathe. And the bikers? They didn't leave when the cameras did. They came back the next day. And the next bought groceries, hired honest nurses, fixed the garden gate so the men could sit in real sunlight, painted the halls, learned names, read pill labels twice. You don't need a medical degree to give a damn. You just need to show up. Uncle Walt gained weight. His laugh came back, softer, slower, but there. We found his medals at a pawn shop wrapped in plastic like trash. We bought them back, pinned them on his jacket in the garden. I found his watch in a safe deposit box, wound it. The hand started moving again. He tapped the glass and said, "Late again, kid," and we both smiled. The bikers set up a rotation. Every day someone came, just to sit, to listen, to hold a hand. They visited other nursing homes too. Found more abuse, got more directors arrested. Hundreds of lives pulled back from the edge, not by miracles, but by people who refused to look away. Uncle Walt lived 2 more years. Good years. We watched baseball, drank coffee on the bench by his door. When he went to the hospital, the waiting room filled with leather and denim and quiet strength. When he came home, they mowed his lawn so it looked like a field he could have run across, if he'd wanted to. One day, he said quietly, "I didn't expect to make new brothers at 94. He closed his eyes, smiled. Life keeps surprising me. When he passed, 300 bikers lined the road to the cemetery, engines idling low like a heartbeat. They walked beside his casket, boots in rhythm, At the grave, a bugle played taps. We folded the flag, gave it to my aunt. She held it like it was warm. Golden Sunset has new management now. The walls are covered with photos, not of happy lies, but of the men who died under Patricia's care. Outside, there's a stone memorial, simple, deeply carved. It says they deserved better. We failed them once, never again. And underneath, in smaller letters, protected by brothers, not heroes. Not saints, just brothers. I still visit. The fake lemon smell is gone, replaced by garlic, butter, and real food cooking. Mr. Chen sits by the window doing crosswords. Always asks about my day. I bring him dumplings from his favorite place. He says they taste like shore leave in 1952. I don't know what that means, but I nod like I do, because I understand this. Food can be memory, and memory can be love, people. Ask if I hate Patricia. I don't. Hate's a hunger that only eats. I think about Uncle Walt calling me kid. I think about big hands holding tiny cups of pills. Think about engines running low, so an old man could sleep without fear. And every Memorial Day, a package shows up at the prison where she's serving her sentence. I don't send it, but someone does. Inside, photos of young soldiers, eyes bright, shoulders straight, walking toward a world they believed in, and a note. They made it home. They should have been safe here. Last summer, we had a picnic in the garden behind Golden Sunset. Hot dogs, potato salad, bubbles from a grandkid that caught the sun and popped like tiny rainbows. Hammer stood up to speak. He hates speeches, but he kept it short. A lot of folks think we're trouble. Sometimes we are. But there's the kind you make, and the kind you stop. We're here to stop the kind that hurts the people who already did enough. He looked at the old men in their chairs, at the oxygen lines and the tattoos, and the hands that once held rifles and said, "You protected us. Now it's our turn." We clapped, not because it was fancy, but because it was true. So if you're listening, and you have someone in a place like Golden Sunset, ask questions, look in the fridge. If something feels wrong in your bones, trust your bones, take notes. Bring a friend. Bring 10. You don't need a motorcycle club to be a hero. You just need to show up again and again, because that's the kind of hero the world actually runs on. I still visit the memorial stone. There are always flowers, wild ones, roses, sometimes just a single daisy. I read the names out loud when I'm alone. I say, "We remember you." I say, "I'm sorry." I say, "Thank you." On my way out, the new receptionist smiles, with her eyes, not just her mouth. "How's Mr. Chen?" I ask. She says he beat yesterday's crossword by 2 minutes. In the hallway, a nurse hums an old song. In the kitchen, something sizzles in butter and garlic. It smells like a house, like home. Before I leave, I stop by the garden, close my eyes, listen, cars pass. A bird taps on the fence, and far off, steady, calm, like a promise, I hear the low roll of motorcycles. Not loud, not angry, just there. I drive home with the window down, warm air on my arm. My uncle's watch ticks on my wrist, soft, steady. I tap the glass, like he used to do when I was late, and I whisper, "I'm on my way. Kid, we didn't bring him back, no one can do that. But we gave him back his last season, filled them with soup, sunlight, and voices that said his name like it mattered. We finished something he started long ago. Standing up to a bully. That's the story. It began with a slap, ended with a circle of hands, wide enough to hold a generation. It's not a fairy tale. It's better. It's people. Flawed. Stubborn, tender, deciding that care isn't a favor. It's a duty. And if you ever forget that, just listen for the engines in the distance, because there are always brothers on the road, ready to stop the kind of trouble that steals from the weak.